depreciation means decrease in the value of fixed tangible assets due to wear and tear, due to obsolescence or due to passage of time. So when you have depreciation outside the trial balance, that means it is an adjustment. So you give the heading subhead 1 when it is given outside the trial balance. Okay. So depreciation, what is the basic nature? You have to identify. Basic nature means don't say debit and credit, that's a dual aspect of accounting. Nature means you have to find whether it is asset, liability, income, expenses. Okay. So out of these 4, depreciation will be an expense that we have recorded on the debit side of P&L in previous chapters. So it's an indirect expense. So basic nature is an expense, and when depreciation is written outside the trial balance, 2 times we have to record. First, what you have to do is, it will be recorded on the debit side of P&L to depreciation on machinery or furniture depending on the question. To depreciation, outer column you must write the amount. Understood? This is what you have to do on the debit side. Then later when you do the balance sheet, asset side, this depreciation must be deducted from the concerned fixed asset. If it is machinery, deduct it from that. So less depreciation you will have to write. Why we are deducting it from the fixed assets value? Because the meaning itself says it is reduction in the value of fixed assets. So we will have to deduct it from the concerned fixed assets. That is the second effect. First effect is you have to debit it in the P&L. If somebody asks you what is the double effect of depreciation or any other adjustment, you have to first say what will happen in trading P&L. Then you have to mention about the balance sheet. Okay, so this is the double effect of depreciation. Then second subhead you write when depreciation is given inside the trial balance. Okay, so is it an adjustment now? No, it is not an adjustment. You need to write or you need to record only once. Where will you record that? You have to do very carefully. What did I tell you before? You have to look into the basic nature of that item. What is the basic nature? The basic nature here is an indirect expense. So being an expense, it will be shown only on the debit side of P&L. So this will be the answer for the second subhead. It will be shown only on the debit side of P&L. Why? Because the basic nature is an expense. So this is the answer for your second subhead. Don't do balance sheet, just P&L. Now we will work out one practical problem. It's on page 19.66. Practical problem number 1. Okay. Practical problem number 1. We have to do all these, trading P&L and balance sheet, all we have to do. So we will start with trading and P&L, which is a combined account. But you have to remember one thing, it's not like previous chapter, you have to consider the adjustments. Okay. So the first step what you are supposed to do is read adjustments first. You have given a trial balance that like capital drawings. Did you see so many items there? It's a trial balance given. After that, 3 adjustments are given. You must first read the adjustments. Okay, closing stock is given. Closing stock will appear usually as adjustment only. You can't find this item, closing stock, inside the trial balance in usual questions. Okay, then second item is depreciate plant and machinery and delivery vehicle. So what you have to do now is just put a tick mark against plant and machinery and delivery vehicle, so that when you go through the items you will understand that there is adjustment for that. Okay, so you put a tick mark against plant and machinery and delivery vehicle. Then the last one, unpaid rent, it is affecting the rent, so you put a tick mark against rent. So this is the first step. Okay, put tick marks against items having adjustment. So now we'll start trading account. Trading account format, do you all remember? You have to start with opening stock on the debit side. So draw the format, give the heading and start doing. Trading and profit and loss account for the year ended, just see whether the date is given, 31st March 2020. Okay. So now what you have to do is write to opening stock. The figure is given there 16,000. Then to purchases, always check whether purchases return is given there in the question. If you have purchases return, then you must deduct and write. Here it is not given, so directly you can write 20,000 in the outer column. Then write all direct expenses. Here we have wages. Is wages having any adjustment? No. We have put a tick mark against items having adjustment. So wages you can directly write in the outer column. Then salary, repairs, all these are indirect expenses. Then next is manufacturing expense that I have told you in the previous video. Manufacturing expense is direct, which you have to record it here in trading. Whereas if you have something like trade expenses, that you have to treat as indirect, it should go to P&L. So manufacturing expense will come here 1,500. Wages amount is 8,000. Bills payable, bad debts, carriage inwards. Yes, carriage inwards is again direct expense that we have to write here. So to carriage inwards, it is 1,600. So now we finished the debit side. Then credit side, write sales always first, don't write closing stock first. Sales, you have to see whether sales returns given. Sales returns not given and sales amount is 42,000, which you can write in the outer column. Then you write by closing stock. This would be given as adjustment always. It's 16,000. Find the balance. Sometimes it can be a gross loss also. Here it is gross profit. So you write to gross profit, carry down. The amount is 10,900. Then write the totals. Here the total is 58,000. Calculate the amounts and write. Don't use calculators. Now you have to start your P&L. So we'll write by gross profit brought down. The same amount you have to take to the opposite side. So now we are starting P&L. You have to record all indirect expenses here, incomes here. So first indirect expense given there is, okay, did you see a tick mark against plant and machinery, the third item? Why we have put a tick mark against that? Because it is having an adjustment. What is the adjustment for plant and machinery? You read that. Depreciate plant and machinery, and we know that depreciation is an indirect expense. So to depreciation we have on plant and machinery and on delivery vehicle. On plant and machinery it is 10%. So just cut 1 0 and take. It is 12,000 on 1,20,000. Then depreciation we have to provide on delivery vehicle also. So it is to be computed at the rate of 15% on the value of delivery vehicle is 26,000. So 15% on 26,000, you will get an amount like 3,900. It's not compulsory that you should write the calculation like this. This is just for you to understand. If you want, you can write. But this is how we are getting the figure. Then the next item is you must go through each and every item in the trial balance. So just take other indirect expenses given. We have salary. It's not having any adjustment. So just write it in the outer column. So 2 salaries. The amount is 8,000. Then 2 repairs 1,900. Okay, the next one is rent, which is indirect expense and it is having an adjustment also. Adjustment says unpaid rent. Unpaid rent, what is the other term for that? It is outstanding rent or payable rent. And what is the adjustment for outstanding rent? You must do it 2 times. First, you must add it with the concerned income. It's expense. It is payable expense. It is payable this year. So we have to add it with the rent account. Add outstanding rent. Later, it must be shown on the liability side as current liability. Payable items are liabilities. So here, to rent, you must write the figure in the inner column because we have an adjustment for that. So to rent 4,500, add outstanding rent. The amount here is 500. So outer column you write that 5,000. Okay. Then the next one is manufacturing expense we wrote. Then we have bad debts. It's not having any adjustment. Carriage inwards we recorded it in the trading. So bad debts will come here. To bad debts 5,000. See, if nothing is mentioned, if it is simply given like carriage, you have to take it as, assume it as carriage inwards, record it in trading account. Here it is specified, so no problem. Then see whether there are indirect incomes. Just go through each and every item once again. Okay, indirect incomes not given. Again go through the adjustments. Once you finish the trial balance, go through the adjustments once again. Closing stock we recorded, depreciation we recorded, outstanding rent. Okay, now your P&L is also over. You have to look into each and every item, otherwise you will miss out items. And if your balance sheet doesn't tally, it's difficult to identify the mistakes once you finish the entire question. So you won't get time for all these. So better you do question very carefully when you start from the trading. So here net loss we are getting, so you must write by net loss. By net loss, and this particular item you have to transfer to capital account that we have done in previous chapter. So by net loss transfer to capital account, the amount is 24,900. That's a balancing figure. Write the totals and then you can close P&L account. And next we'll start the balance sheet. P&L total is 35,800. Now you can start the balance sheet. Balance sheet heading you write like balance sheet as H. That heading is needed 31st March 2020. And the format also you must write carefully. Liabilities must come first. It's liabilities amount, assets amount. Okay, you can start with capital on the liability side. I'm following the order of permanence. So starting with capital, it's 1,90,000. Write it in the inner column. Then usually we'll be writing add net profit, but here it is net loss, so you must deduct it. So less net loss. What is the figure of net loss? It is 24,900, which you can take from your P&L, right within brackets being negative. Then less drawings, it's 7,000. Then other liabilities, okay, capital outer column, it is 1,58,100. Then you have to go through other items given in the trial balance. After that, go through adjustments also. So the next non-current liability you have to write. Then if you don't have any non-current, you can move on to current liabilities. Delivery vehicle, all these are asset. Creditors, it's current liability. Okay, we don't have any other non-current liability, so we'll write current liabilities like creditors. Sundry creditors amount is 26,000. Then we have bills payable, all these are current liabilities. So bills payable 23,500. Okay, then the items inside the trial balance are over. The current liabilities are over. Next, what we have to check is go through the adjustments. We have unpaid rent. Did you see that it is rent outstanding? Outstanding rent is a current liability. That also we have to write. And it is an adjustment. We have to record it 2 times. So always what you have to do is go through each and every item in the trial balance. After that, go through adjustments also. Don't forget that. Now on the asset side, start with the fixed assets. We have first one, plant and machinery, against which we have a tick mark. That means you have to read the adjustment, and the adjustment is depreciation. So we can write 1,20,000 less the depreciation amount 12,000. Yes. So it is 1,08,000. Then after plant and machinery, we have delivery vehicle, which is an asset for the firm. It's not having any adjustment. Is it having any adjustment? Yes, delivery vehicle also has the same adjustment, that is depreciation. So delivery vehicle amount is 26,000. Then depreciation on delivery vehicle we have written before in P&L. That amount you can write 3,900. So it is 22,100. Then see whether we have any other fixed assets. Say in case you forget to write these fixed assets, in between you wrote one current asset and later only you found the mistake, no need to cut the entire question, it's okay, you can write it as a last item. Okay. Delivery vehicle, then see whether we have any other non-current assets. We don't have any other non-current assets. Next, what we can write is closing stock. Don't forget to write closing stock. It is a current asset. It's given in the adjustment, 16,000. Then other items in the trial balance, sundry debtors. No problem even if you write closing stock as the last item. Only thing is it must be there in the balance sheet. Sundry debtors 36,000. Then cash at bank we have. The amount is 26,000. Okay. Yes. So now we have recorded all items in the trial balance. Go through adjustments once again. Closing stock we recorded. Depreciation we recorded. Okay. Unpaid rent also we recorded. So now the balance sheet is over. This must tally. That means both sides must be same. 2,08,100. See whether you are getting the same figure on both sides. See, for exam you have to add both sides. Don't simply add the liability side and write the same on the asset side. You will not be getting full marks if you have missed out any item. Understood? So you have to check both sides separately, see whether it tally. Okay. So this is how we have to do the final accounts of financial statements with adjustments.